The catalyst for change came in the form of Gideon, a battle-hardened space soldier whose life had been defined by the endless grind of intergalactic warfare. Tired of the monotony and disillusioned by a system that valued profit over life, he stumbled upon Fluff during a routine mission that quickly spiraled into something far more consequential. What began as a reluctant rescue mission soon morphed into an uneasy partnership as Gideon found himself inexplicably drawn to the enigmatic creature. Despite its fearsome reputation and its ability to obliterate entire fleets with a single swipe, Fluff's underlying vulnerability resonated with the soldier's own internal battle against a merciless universe. As corporate forces descended like vultures hungry for retribution, the abandoned war beast transformed from a forgotten project into a symbol of defiance. When the overzealous corporate mercenaries arrived with their high-tech gadgets and overpriced suits, expecting to reclaim their runaway asset, they found themselves facing something far more unpredictable. With a flick of its massive paw and a disdainful glare, Fluff switched into a mode that can only be described as pure, unadulterated mayhem. One moment, the enemies were advancing with all the pomp and circumstance of an armada. The next, they were being sent scattering like startled insects before a force that neither logic nor reason could contain. The ensuing chaos was a masterclass in destruction. In the blink of an eye, Fluff dismantled the corporate security detail with a blend of calculated aggression and almost casual nonchalance. Bullets ricocheted off its armored hide, while its eyes glowed with a menacing light that froze even the most seasoned warriors in their tracks. Gideon, caught between disbelief and a grudging admiration, quickly realized that aligning with this beast was not only his only option, but also his ticket to rewriting the rules of intergalactic warfare. In a daring move that would etch their names into the annals of history, the unlikely duo commandeered a state-of-the-art military stealth cruiser, a vessel designed for silent, covert operations, and set course for a destiny that none could have foreseen. What followed was a breathtaking display of technological wizardry and raw, untamed power. As the cruiser's engines roared to life, a dramatic metamorphosis unfolded before the eyes of a stunned fleet of corporate warships. Fluff, with an almost instinctive desire to merge with the very machine that carried it, bonded with the cruiser in a symbiosis that defied conventional understanding of biology and engineering. In that singular moment, the beast transformed from a mere weapon into an omnipotent force, a living embodiment of rebellion and defiance against the stifling norms of corporate exploitation. The corporate executives, who had once sat smugly behind their impenetrable boardroom doors, were now scrambling in panic as their prized asset slipped further from their grasp. Their meticulously crafted plans began to unravel like a poorly knitted sweater as Fluff single-handedly dismantled their Annihilation-class fleet. With a combination of digital warfare and brute strength, the Renegade cat-hacked into the enemy ship's systems, shutting them down one by one in a symphony of silence and destruction. The fleet, once a symbol of corporate might and military precision, was reduced to a drifting constellation of disabled warships, mere pawns in a cosmic game that had suddenly turned against its architects. Throughout the carnage, Gideon could only watch in a state of simultaneous awe and horror. The very fabric of the galactic order was being rewritten before his eyes. A revision written in the language of defiance, powered by an unlikely hero whose only apparent desire was the simple taste of tuna. Fluff's actions were as much an act of self-preservation as they were a statement against the hubris of those who believed they could control nature with a few lab experiments and an excess of corporate cash. With every enemy ship that faltered and every system that collapsed, the message was clear. When you try to harness the forces of life without understanding them, you are guaranteed to awaken something far more potent than you can ever imagine. The cruiser, now a seamless fusion of flesh, metal, and raw energy, hurtled through the endless void of space. A new era began to take shape. The remnants of a once mighty corporate empire lay in ruins, a testament to the dangers of playing God with genetics and technology. In the wake of this seismic shift, whispers of rebellion and hope began to spread across star systems. It wasn't a conventional revolution fueled by political ideologies or manifestos of change. It was a silent, explosive repudiation of a system that had long forgotten the true value of life. Fluff had become more than a weapon. It had become an icon, a living, breathing middle finger raised defiantly at those who had dared to toy with the essence of existence. In the quiet moments following the maelstrom of battle, as the embers of corporate ambition smoldered in the darkness of space, a profound truth emerged. The universe was not a place to be tamed by those who wielded power like a blunt instrument. It was a wild, unpredictable expanse where life, in all its chaotic glory, refused to be confined by the narrow dictates of profit and control. Fluff, with its insatiable appetite for freedom and an inexplicable longing for the taste of tuna, had embodied that truth in every fiber of its being. It was a living paradox, a creature engineered for destruction that ultimately transcended its original purpose to become a harbinger of liberation. For Gideon, the journey alongside this formidable feline was a revelation. Every encounter, every close call with the relentless pursuit of corporate enforcers was a reminder that the greatest battles were not always fought with weapons and strategy, but with the unyielding spirit of defiance. Together, they navigated treacherous asteroid fields, evaded ambushes from desperate mercenaries, and outmaneuvered fleets that outnumbered them many times over. Each victory, no matter how small, was a step toward a future where power was not synonymous with oppression, where innovation was not shackled by greed, and where even the most unlikely heroes could rise to challenge the status quo. The cruiser streaked across nebulas and dodged meteor showers that glittered like shattered dreams. Gideon began to reflect on the absurdity of his existence. He recalled the days when he was just another cog in the endless war machine, following orders without questioning the morality of the missions. Now, with every pulse of the cruiser's engines, he felt a stirring inside, a long-forgotten yearning for freedom and the audacity to challenge the cosmic order. His memories of a life once bound by duty slowly melted away, replaced by the adrenaline of rebellion and the promise of a future carved out by the fearless. In the backdrop of swirling galaxies and dying stars, every moment with Fluff was a defiant snarl at a universe that had long attempted to break his spirit. The journey was not without its moments of bitter introspection. In the silent void between battles, Gideon and Fluff shared quiet moments that transcended words. There were times when the only sound was the hum of the cruiser's engines and the rhythmic beating of their hearts, one mechanical, one organic. In those moments, the pair found solace in their shared defiance, a mutual understanding born from a lifetime of scars and regrets. The bond they forged was as unlikely as it was unbreakable, an alliance that defied the conventional rules of engagement. It was in this fragile peace that Gideon learned to see Fluff not just as a weapon or a tool of destruction, but as a living embodiment of chaos and beauty, a creature that carried the hopes and dreams of those who dared to imagine a better universe. As the cruiser ventured deeper into uncharted space, rumors of their exploits began to spread like wildfire through the rebel networks scattered across distant star systems. Secret transmissions, encoded in bursts of light and sound, carried the legend of a war cat that had dismantled an entire corporate fleet with nothing but a swipe of its paw and a steely gaze. These whispers ignited hope in the hearts of the oppressed and fear in the corridors of corporate power. Everywhere, from the neon-lit underbelly of spaceports to the luxurious enclaves of corporate oligarchs, the name Fluff became synonymous with resistance, a symbol of the unpredictable force that could turn the tide of fate with a single, defiant ACT. In the midst of this growing legend, corporate forces regrouped and launched a desperate counteroffensive. Elite squads, equipped with the latest in anti-cybernetic weaponry and cloaking technology, were dispatched with a singular mission: to capture or neutralize the Renegade duo at any cost. Massive battles erupted in the void, where the cold precision of corporate firepower clashed with the raw, untamed fury of a being that refused to be contained. Amid the chaos, Gideon found himself at the forefront of skirmishes that were as much psychological warfare as they were physical confrontations. Every encounter with the enemy was a test of wills, a high-stakes dance where one misstep could mean obliteration, and every calculated risk was a bid for freedom. During one particularly harrowing engagement near a dying star, as searing solar flares bathed the battlefield in a hellish glow, Gideon and Fluff were forced to navigate a labyrinth of debris and shattered dreams. The enemy had set up an ambush, and for a moment, it seemed as if fate itself was conspiring against them. Explosions rocked the void, scattering fragments of once mighty warships like cosmic confetti. In the midst of this orchestrated chaos, Gideon's mind raced with a singular thought. They had to outsmart the enemy before brute force could seal their doom. With seconds to spare, Fluff leaped from the control console, its sleek form blurring into a streak of luminescence as it intercepted incoming fire. The ensuing ballet of destruction was as mesmerizing as it was terrifying. A perfectly choreographed display of agility, cunning, and raw power that left onlookers, even among the enemy ranks, in a in that crucible of fire and fury. Gideon's voice rang out over the comms, calm yet resolute. A declaration that defiance was the only language that mattered. Each maneuver, each calculated risk, was a note in a symphony of rebellion that resonated across the stars. The enemy's strategies, honed through years of corporate warfare and technological superiority, crumbled in the face of an unpredictable spirit that refused to be quantified. As the cruiser weaved through the debris and the remnants of shattered enemy vessels, every spark and every burst of energy became a testament to the indomitable will of those who dared to dream of freedom. Beyond the immediate carnage, the cosmic landscape itself seemed to respond to their defiance. Nebulae pulsed with vibrant colors, as if the universe were applauding the audacity of those who broke free from the shackles of tyranny. Planets that had long been relegated to the status of forgotten backwaters in corporate charts suddenly became beacons of possibility. Entire star systems, once under the suffocating grip of oligarchic control, began to stir with the promise of revolution. In distant corners of the galaxy, whispers of a war cat that had united a scattered resistance turned into rallying cries that inspired countless souls to rise up against oppression. Yet even as victory began to take shape on the fringes of rebellion, Gideon's journey was far from over. Each new skirmish and every narrow escape revealed the deeper layers of a universe steeped in intrigue and betrayal. The corporate behemoths, desperate to salvage their crumbling empires, resorted to ever more devious tactics. Secret agents, masked in layers of digital subterfuge and corporate espionage, infiltrated rebel strongholds and sowed discord among those who believed in the cause of liberation. It was a game of cat and mouse played out across hyperspace channels and encrypted data streams. A contest where trust was a luxury and loyalty was as fleeting as stardust. Amid this internal strife, Gideon found himself questioning the nature of rebellion itself. Was it enough to shatter the old order, or did true freedom require building something entirely new from the ruins of the past? Fluff, ever the enigma, seemed to sense these doubts and would often, in the silent lulls between battles, project an almost human-like calm that belied its ferocious nature. In those moments, the creature's eyes, deep and knowing, conveyed a message that transcended words. A reminder that sometimes the path to redemption and renewal is paved with chaos, unpredictability, and the willingness to embrace the unknown. Together, they pressed on, their journey a winding odyssey through battle-scarred sectors of space where every star, every distant planet, held the potential for both peril and promise. As the struggle between corporate might and insurgent resolve intensified, the stakes grew ever higher. Massive space stations that once served as bastions of corporate power fell one by one, their colossal structures crumbling under the weight of a rebellion that refused to be contained. In one daring operation, Gideon and Fluff orchestrated the liberation of an entire asteroid colony, transforming a once-forgotten mining outpost into a thriving hub of resistance. The victory was hard-won, marked by fierce firefights in claustrophobic corridors and daring leaps across zero-gravity chasms. Yet for every loss suffered, every sacrifice made in the name of freedom, the flames of hope blazed brighter, fueling a movement that spanned galaxies and defied the oppressive order. In the aftermath of these monumental clashes, as the wreckage of corporate warships drifted like ghosts through the void, a fragile new order began to emerge. Rebel leaders, once scattered, disillusioned, and isolated, found common cause in the legend of the war cat that had turned the tide of battle. Assemblies were held in secret, where plans for a future free from corporate tyranny were sketched out in hushed tones beneath the shimmering light of distant quasars. Gideon, once a solitary warrior, became an unlikely figurehead, his battle-scarred visage a symbol of defiance and resilience. And at his side, Fluff, no longer merely a creature of genetic aberration, but a living myth, served as a constant reminder that even the most incongruous forces, when set free, could reshape destiny. Every pulse of the integrated cruiser was now a heartbeat of revolution, each surge of power an anthem to the unyielding spirit of those who refused to be cowed by an empire built on greed and exploitation. The rebellion was not without its moments of sorrow and sacrifice. Friends were lost, dreams shattered, and scars, both visible and hidden, etched deep into the souls of those who fought for a cause larger than themselves. Yet even as darkness loomed on the horizon, the light of rebellion burned brighter with each passing day. The battle was as much an internal struggle, a fight to reclaim one's identity and humanity, as it was a clash of titanic forces in the cold expanse of space to end the echoing silence that followed each confrontation. When the hum of engines faded and the stars resumed their eternal vigil, Gideon would often find himself alone with his thoughts, musing over the incredible journey that had led him from the monotony of soldier's life to the forefront of a cosmic revolution. The weight of his decisions, the cost of defiance, and the beauty of a newfound freedom mingled in a bittersweet tapestry that defied simple explanation. And as the cruiser sailed onward into the unknown, the promise of a future built on resilience and the audacity to challenge fate beckoned like a distant, shimmering horizon, in that grand, unfolding drama, where every explosion, every burst of energy, and every whispered word of hope wove together to form the intricate fabric of rebellion. The legacy of Fluff and Gideon became more than just a series of battles fought in the void. It evolved into a narrative of transformation, a testament to the power of the unpredictable, and a living reminder that even in the darkest reaches of space, the light of resistance can ignite a revolution. As they ventured further into the cosmic unknown, the duo carried with them the dreams of countless souls yearning for change, a collective hope that the oppressive chains of corporate dominance would one day be shattered forever. And so, amid the swirling mists of nebulae and the silent testimony of dying stars, the journey continued, each moment a defiant cry against the status quo, each heartbeat a pulse in the rhythm of liberation. In the endless expanse where destiny was rewritten with every daring maneuver and every whispered promise of freedom, the story of a renegade war cat and a battle-worn soldier carved its mark into the annals of history. Their saga was a bold reminder that when the forces of nature, technology, and raw, unfiltered will collide, they create a symphony of chaos and hope, a melody that resonates across galaxies and inspires generations to come. The cruiser surged onward, its course set by an unwavering resolve to dismantle the vestiges of corporate tyranny and rebuild a universe where freedom was not a privilege for the few, but a birthright for all. Every star that streaked past, every planet that blinked into view, was a silent witness to the revolution unfolding in real time. A revolution where every act of defiance, every sacrifice, and every burst of raw energy was a testament to the indomitable spirit of rebellion. And as the legend of Fluff and Gideon grew ever larger, echoing across the vast corridors of space, it carried with it a simple, unyielding truth that even the most unlikely heroes can alter the course of destiny, rewriting the future one defiant act at a time. In the end, as the cruisers sailed deeper into the uncharted territories of the cosmos and the embers of corporate ambition flickered into oblivion, the universe itself seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The old order, built on exploitation and arrogance, was crumbling under the weight of its own hubris, making way for a new era defined by hope, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of freedom. And so the journey pressed on, a sprawling odyssey of battle, sacrifice, and unwavering defiance that would forever remind the galaxy that when the spark of rebellion is lit, it has the power to set the cosmos ablaze with the light of 1,000 untamed stars.